After another extended leave of absence where I spent a lot of time thinking about what exactly I wanted to make for a video, I started a script that I was excited about, and I hope to get motivated to finish it soon. But recently I've been blessed with the idea of making a video on the Hall of Very Good. I also have an idea for a college sports Hall of Fame, but I thought this one would be fun to do first. Part of the idea is that this video can become a consistent part of the channel. Each month, one or two players can be inducted into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good, and then at the end of the year, we can do an updated video about all of the inductees. For this year, we will have an initial class, and then a 2025 class at the end of the year. Let's set the table for what will get someone inducted into the Hall of Very Good. You have to be very good, but not good enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame of your respective sport. I will admit the Hall of Very Good will be limited by the fact that baseball and football get most of my attention. So, if anyone out there has NBA and NHL ball/puck knowledge and wants to get in on this, just let me know. I will make exceptions for short peaks as well. Legends of the game that are short of Hall of Fame glory because of how short their peak lasted. After all, you just had to be very good. I've decided that the first class will feature 7 players, 3 from the MLB, 3 from the NFL, and 1 from the NBA. I said I was lacking ball knowledge, not that it doesn't exist. Sorry to all my hockey fans, I got nothing for you. The first player to receive the indistinguishable honor and prestige of being inducted into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good is Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly was one of the most dominant hitters of the 1980s and a true icon of the New York Yankees. Across his 14-year career, Donnie Baseball posted a .307 batting average with north of 2,100 hits, 200 home runs, and just under 1,100 RBIs. He won the 1985 AL MVP, captured 9 Gold Gloves, and made 6 All-Star teams, proving himself as both an elite hitter and an exceptional defensive first baseman. However, when measured by WAR and JAWS, Mattingly falls short of the typical Hall of Fame first baseman, where the average JAWS score is around 54.8, compared to contemporaries like Keith Hernandez, who had 60 WAR with 46 JAWS, and Hall of Famer Eddie Murray, who had 68 WAR in 55 JAWS. Don Mattingly only has 42 WAR in 39 JAWS. Mattingly's case weakens due to his relatively short peak and decline after injuries took their toll in the early 90s. Despite these shortcomings, Mattingly is the perfect first inductee into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good because he embodies what this hall represents: a truly great player who just falls short of immortality. At his best, he was the premier first baseman of his era, winning a batting title in 1984 and leading the AL in RBIs and extra base hits multiple times. But with a lack of longevity, no World Series appearances, and a post-prime decline, his Hall of Fame case remains just out of reach. Still, his legendary status among Yankees fans, his peak dominance, and his lasting impact on the game make him more than worthy of this special honor. He may never get a plaque in Cooperstown, but in the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good, Mattingly gets the recognition his career truly deserves. Few receivers in NFL history brought the combination of talent, swagger, and entertainment quite like Chad Johnson. Over his 11-year career, primarily with the Cincinnati Bengals, Chad Johnson, or Chad Ochocinco, amassed 766 receptions, 11,000 receiving yards, and 67 touchdowns, making him one of the most productive wide receivers of his era. A 6-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro, he led the AFC in receiving yards in 4 separate seasons between 2003 and 2006, showcasing his ability to dominate against the league's top cornerbacks. While his numbers stack up well against some Hall of Fame receivers, he falls short when compared to all-time greats like Marvin Harrison or Randy Moss, both of whom sustained their dominance for longer and had significantly higher touchdown totals. Additionally, Johnson never had a dominant playoff run or a defining postseason moment, limiting his legacy in the eyes of Hall of Fame voters. Despite falling short of Canton, Chad Johnson is a good choice for the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good, as he was not just a great receiver, but a cultural icon in the NFL. His footwork, route running, and explosiveness made him nearly uncoverable at his peak, and his brash personality, legendary touchdown celebrations, and on-field charisma made him one of the league's most memorable stars. However, his shorter prime, lack of playoff success, and relatively low career touchdown total hold him back from Hall of Fame status. Still, few players were as exciting to watch or had a bigger impact on the sport during their time, and for that reason, Chad Johnson earned his place in the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. At his peak, Derrick Rose was one of the most electrifying players in NBA history, a dynamic force who could attack the rim with unmatched explosiveness. Over his 15-year career that just recently ended, Rose has accumulated more than 12,000 points, 3,000 rebounds, and 4,000 assists, but his defining achievement remains his 2010 to 2011 MVP season, where he became the youngest MVP in NBA history at just 22 years old. That season, he averaged 25 points, 7.7 assists, and 4.1 rebounds, leading the Chicago Bulls to a league-best 62-20 record. However, devastating knee injuries robbed him of his prime, and while he remained a productive player with strong stints in New York, Minnesota, and Detroit, he never returned to MVP caliber form. Compared to Hall of Fame point guards like Chris Paul or Allen Iverson, Rose's overall resume lacks the longevity and sustained dominance typically required for induction into Springfield. Despite that, Derrick Rose is a great addition to the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good, as he represents the tragic case of a Hall of Fame level talent whose career was derailed by injuries. At his best, he was a top 5 player in the NBA, a highlight machine, and the unquestioned leader of a championship contending Bulls team, but he never had the chance to build on his early success. While he remained a respected veteran throughout the rest of his career and an inspiration for perseverance, his lack of sustained excellence and absence of a championship ring keep him outside the Hall of Fame. However, for his historic MVP season, his impact on basketball, and the unforgettable moments he provided, Derrick Rose more than deserves his spot in the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. Few players combine defensive excellence, power, and charisma quite like Torrey Hunter, making him one of the most well-rounded outfielders of his era. Over his nearly 20-year career, Hunter posted a .277 batting average, just under 2,500 hits, a little bit over 350 home runs, and a hair under 1,400 RBIs, as well as almost 200 stolen bases, proving himself as both a power and speed threat. His defensive prowess was even more impressive. He won 9 Gold Glove awards, solidifying his reputation as one of the best defensive center fielders of his time. However, when measured against Hall of Fame outfielders, Hunter falls a bit short. His 50 WAR and 44 JAWs are well below the average Hall of Fame center fielder, 58 JAWs and a 71 WAR, placing him behind legends like Ken Griffey Jr., who had 83 WAR and 68 JAWs, and Andre Dawson, who had 64 WAR and 53 JAWs. While he may not have the statistical dominance of some Hall of Famers, Torrey Hunter is a stellar candidate to be inducted into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good because of his consistency, as well as being a fan favorite and one of the most respected players of his era. His ability to make jaw-dropping home run robberies, combined with his infectious personality, made him a beloved figure in the game. Though he never won an MVP or a World Series, his longevity, 5 All-Star selections, and 2 Silver Sluggers showcase his all-around value. Hunter was never the best player in baseball, but he was an anchor in the outfield and a leader in the clubhouse for nearly 2 decades. For his defensive brilliance, steady offensive production, and lasting impact on the game, Torrey Hunter earns his well-deserved spot in the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. Few cornerbacks in NFL history had a greater knack for forcing turnovers than Charles Peanut Tillman, one of the most disruptive defensive backs of his era. Over his 13-year career, primarily with the Chicago Bears, Peanut Tillman recorded 38 interceptions, 44 forced fumbles, 8 defensive touchdowns, and 930 total tackles. His signature move, the Peanut Punch, became a revolutionary technique, allowing him to force more fumbles than almost any cornerback in history. Tillman was a 2-time Pro Bowler, a first-team All-Pro in 2012, and the Walter Payton Man of the Year winner in 2013, proving his impact extended beyond the field. However, when compared to Hall of Fame defensive backs like Champ Bailey or Charles Woodson, Tillman's overall ball-hawking numbers fall short. Despite being one of the best turnover creators of his time, he lacked the All-Pro selections, Super Bowl rings, and longevity at an elite level that often define Hall of Famers. While Tillman may not be destined for Canton, he is destined for the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good, as he was a true game-changer who left an undeniable mark on the sport. His ability to shut down receivers and create turnovers made him a cornerstone of the dominant Lovie Smith-era Bears defense, which thrived on takeaways. Though he never led the league in interceptions or won a Defensive Player of the Year award, his impact on the game, particularly his innovation in forcing fumbles, was legendary. Peanut may not have the overwhelming accolades of other Hall of Fame cornerbacks, but his consistency, leadership, and signature defensive playmaking make him an ideal inductee into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. At his peak, Johan Santana was the most dominant pitcher in baseball, a left-handed ace who overwhelmed hitters with his devastating changeup and pinpoint control. Over his 12-year career with the Minnesota Twins and New York Mets, Santana compiled a 139-win career, as well as posting a 3.2 ERA, just under 2,000 strikeouts. He won 2 Cy Young Awards and finished in the top 5 in voting 4 other times, establishing himself as the best pitcher of the mid-2000s. His 51 WAR and 46 JAWs, while impressive, fall short of the average Hall of Fame starting pitcher, 73 WAR and 73 JAWs, placing him behind legends like Pedro Martinez and Tom Glavine. Injuries derailed his career just as he seemed destined for Cooperstown, limiting him to only 12 seasons and preventing him from key milestones like 200 wins or 3,000 strikeouts, which many voters look for in a Hall of Fame case. Though his career was short-lived, Santana will forever be enshrined in the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good because he was undoubtedly one of the best players of his generation, even if his peak didn't last long enough for a Hall of Fame plaque. His dominance was evident not just in the accolades, but in the performances. He led the league in ERA 3 times, strikeout 3 times, and whip 4 times, showing his ability to shut down hitters at an elite level. His crowning achievement came in 2012 when he threw the first no-hitter in New York Mets history, an unforgettable moment that capped off his brilliant but brief career. While his resume may lack the longevity of other Hall of Fame pitchers, Santana's peak, his Cy Young dominance, and signature moments make him a terrific addition to the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. For a brief but dominant stretch in the mid-2000s, Shaun Alexander was the most productive running back in the NFL. He was a touchdown-scoring machine who powered the Seattle Seahawks to their first Super Bowl appearance. Over his 9-year career, Alexander rushed for 9,453 yards and 100 touchdowns, adding another 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns receiving. His peak came in 2005 when he won the NFL MVP award, rushing for just over 1,800 yards and a then-record 27 touchdowns, leading Seattle to Super Bowl 40. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and won the NFL rushing title in 2005 as well as his MVP. However, compared to Hall of Fame running backs like LaDainian Tomlinson or Eric Dickerson, Alexander's short peak and lack of sustained production hold him back from serious Hall of Fame consideration. After his MVP season, injuries quickly took their toll, and he was out of the league by age 31, preventing him from building on his early success. Despite falling short of Canton, Shaun Alexander is a great fit for the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good because his peak performance was among the best the NFL has ever seen. His MVP season remains one of the greatest single-year performances for a running back, and his role in elevating the Seahawks into a perennial contender make him a legend in Seattle. However, his short prime, lack of longevity, and decline after 2005 prevent him from reaching Hall of Fame status. Still, very few backs were as explosive, productive, and dominant in their prime, and his place in history is cemented as one of the best to never quite reach Canton. For his incredible peak, historic MVP season, and lasting legacy as one of Seattle's greatest players, Shaun Alexander will run his way into the Bronx Prince Hall of Very Good. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I can't wait to watch the Hall of Very Good grow monthly from this point forward. Who else should be inducted into the Hall? Who did I induct that shouldn't be in? I want your feedback, as despite the name, I don't want this to be a hall that is based on my opinion. My goal is to create a hall that anyone can come to and say, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks again for watching. It's been the Bronx Prince. God bless, and I'm out. Later.